That was illegal
Yeah.
for the DM to say, come meet me, and then I will decide whether I give you the ID card or not. Problematic part of this was that you're treating transgender persons in like unequally, right? You're saying if a
Yes.
cis person is victim, then the punishment is like 15, 20 years, but if the trans person, it's 2 years.
Saying this government is fucking authoritarian. Guys, wake the fuck up. Hello and welcome to the stream that answers the question why we'll need to get arrested. Thank you for coming today. Today we are going to have a special interview. Miss with Muskan, she's a lawyer. She'll be explaining to us the changes in the bill that has happened. She'll be educating us on how things are going with respect to the bill, what can we do against it, because again, this is an extremely discriminatory bill that redefines what it means to be transgender in India. Are you okay? Perfect.
Hi.
Hey. So we have a few people. We expect a few more to join, but we are starting anyway because again, this will be a recorded video later. So please don't worry about too much about the people here right now. People are saying, I don't know if you're on the stream on the side, but people are sending you dog hellos.
Oh,
Yeah, it just
hi.
yeah. Currently, we have Hassan, who I initially thought was Hassan Abi, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But no, this is a completely different Hassan.
Okay.
We have Radhika from Twitter. I think you would know her. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if you don't.
I feel like I know too many people from Twitter this time
No,
at this point.
I mean, everyone here is just like everyone from Twitter is here at this point. Everyone
Whoa, hi
not that many
everyone.
people, not that many. It's like 10 people max. Growing, but 10 people.
That's basically everyone.
Yeah, that's basically what Twitter is right now. For it, especially
Yeah.
with the left. Oh shit, hold on. We just got the permission to post it on Liberando. Hold on. So I'm just gonna quickly post it on Liberando because do you know what that is?
I don't actually.
Liberando is a Reddit online community for left-wing politics for India.
Fancy.
Yes, it is. It is really not that fancy at all. I'm saying that I'm going to be removed from it now because I literally recently joined. I did not know it existed myself. The person who actually contacted you, Nana, she is the one who told me Liberando community exists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's the one connected here. That's why, like, if you see on the top in the stream, like, there is special thanks to her and Abigail. Without them, this shit is never happening at all, ever. I'm not kidding. When it comes to Discord, without Abigail, I would never have been able to even begin because as just trying to change some permissions, I have broken Discord 3 times in 3 separate occasions doing the same exact thing. I never learned the technology.
Yeah, it's a bit of a toughie when you first get into it, and I feel like people who know how to do it, it's like magic. It's like
I
you're creating these
know.
bots and
Oh my
channels, and this is how
god.
are you doing
Yes.
this? Like, crazy.
I know. Jesus Christ. Every time Bliss changes something, I send her this one gif of saying, "Woman, you're magic, black magic." That's like a constant gif I have to keep sending her. She's fucking amazing.
I love the many ways behind
Yeah, they're
this.
amazing. They're amazing. Hold on, let me just post it.
Yes, go.
Fingers. Hold on. What is the stop moving the cursor over your speaker face? मैकलिन भाई आप यूट्यूब पे आओ नहीं तो ट्विच पे आओ आप वहाँ पे डिस्कॉर्ड पे मैसेज कर रहे हो I'm gonna I'm switching off Discord until we are doing this. Jesus Christ. नेक्स्ट लेवल ट्रोलिंग होता है यहाँ पे. I'm sorry this is not connected. I'm sorry. Anyway, so we'll just start. Could you please introduce yourself, your background, and then we can start talking about this?
Yes. So hi, my name is Muskan. I go by the pronouns he, she, they. I'm a lawyer. Um, and I've been working on human rights like all through law school and after. I did litigation in the Supreme Court for a while, where I got to work on some really fantastic cases, including the marriage equality case, the marital rape case, the COVID-19 judicial review petitions, and a bunch of others. Then I shifted to doing more sort of policy research work for a bit because I wanted to do more focused work on LGBT rights and gender and also do it from more of a critical lens. So I worked at this amazing center called the Center for Justice, Law and Society, which also does great work in this area. And then I went for my master's, and now I have a fellowship to work with this organization called Women's Link Worldwide, and they are phenomenal. They're lawyers in the global south who do particularly like litigation and advocacy for women in the global south. So it's been amazing.
It's been, oh my
They
God.
follow Yeah, they follow a lot of like decolonial and like actual decolonial. I
Mhm.
don't mean what the Indian government calls decolonial.
Oh, thank you for saying
Actual
that. I have
decolonial
been screaming my head off
approaches.
over that topic.
It is so frustrating
Oh,
to see.
Jesus,
Like,
yes.
I think this has been something common, like in this like era of
Mhm.
authoritarianism in the US and here, just to see this like co-opting of a lot of like leftist terms. Um,
Thank you.
it's been very
Please come here
frustrating.
every week. It is very cathartic to hear it from someone else. But my God, like, oh my God. And you are, I mean, am I allowed to say your age?
Yeah, yeah,
And oh
yeah,
my
of
God, you are
course.
27.
Yeah, I've been very lucky.
Oh, very smart and intelligent, I assume. And
Thank you, thank
a lot better than any one of us in chat right now.
you. That's no, absolutely. I could never do any of this. It's amazing. I think creating a community in this like sort of late capitalist times, like this sort of community in India is insane. And I'm so happy to know that it exists.
Oh yeah, thank you very much as well. The share of the work for the community goes to the community. I don't do shit. I break a lot of Discord a lot more. I create more problems. um, anyway, let's focus because okay, let me just begin with this. I have, and people already know here, I have ADHD. I get medicated. If I get distracted, it is normally up to Bliss to keep me on track. So if I do get
Sweet.
distracted here, and if you feel that I'm getting too distracted, just be like, Neil, shut the fuck up.
All
It would
right,
be
I'll keep in
perfect.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
It's
be.
nice to get permission to say shut the fuck up to
Yeah, yeah,
someone.
yeah. No, like
Like
especially
I'm
with
getting
me,
permission,
and
not
no,
food.
I get so much hate on like internet on a daily basis. Like shut the fuck up is just normal. Like my father was worse than this.
Fair
So,
enough.
anyway, so let's just get to the discussion of the main. So the bill was recently amended, if I'm not wrong. This is not a new bill. I'm asking.
No, the 2019 Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act
Mm-hmm.
um has not it's not been amended yet. There's
Okay.
a proposal to amend it in the Lok
Okay.
Sabha,
Yeah.
and that's the
So it's been
2026
tabled.
bill that we're not talking about. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just clearing this out. Please don't think I'm stupid or something. I'm sorry.
Juries
I am in
are.
so awe of you. I don't want to sound stupid.
No, no, not at all.
So
It
okay, so this is on the
nobody gets these terms right. It's
yeah.
fine. Like nobody outside of the law gets these terms right.
That's why I'm trying to clear things out. I'm anyway. So this is on the table right now.
Mm-hmm.
So before even we start anything, I would also like to mention that there are protests going on and there are protests being organized. There is a protest that we will be covering here for people who couldn't join. That is in Hyderabad. I have spoken to the person who's posting about it. They're going to send me a stream link. Other than that, there is a CPIM protest that has been organized. And I understand this, we are not doing this with any party affiliation in it. There's a protest. You can go check. I will post information about this on the Discord. So on that topic, join the Discord. It is a safe community. If you want to be part of a group that will help you, if you need it, join there. The only thing I ask of you is please don't be a Sangi, especially on Discord. Okay, people are asking me to shut the fuck up, so I'm going to shut the fuck up. See, this is what I tell you. Like, the community is more harming to me than anyone else.
It's
Anyway,
not harm.
I know. They're free, which I like. They don't do it like they're always killing me over this. Anyway, so if you are around areas that are doing an effort to stop the bill from being passing, please to join. Collective work is the only thing that will get us through. We can't do this alone. Even though how amazing Muskan is, she can't find this alone. Even though even our community needs like a billion more members. So please aim for a billion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
yeah,
also a strong community. Like, I mean, the way that it's like in the last 1.5 days, everybody's come together to make plans and organize protests and collectivize. I mean, despite everyone's initial reaction obviously being fear, anxiety, everyone's been able to focus their energy, emotions, all of it on action, and it's been phenomenal to see it, honestly.
yeah, it has been quite amazing. Especially, I've been talking to other few people from the community as well. Abigail is from the community. She also is like, she initially was like, what the fuck is going on? Are we not able to live in this place anymore? And then she was like,
It's
fuck everything. I'm gonna work against it.
it's a yeah, it's a step-by-step process. Like
Yes.
we all had to go through that. Fuck everything and then get to
Yeah, no, I completely
on the
agree.
right cells.
Even if I understand, there's also a person on Twitter. I see I have no permission to talk about them right now, but I'm just going to mention they're also organizing something and they'll also be on interview later on. So hopefully that happens.
Amazing.
They are a person, I think I'll text you their name later. But
Okay.
hopefully that happens because I did not get permission here before. And I do believe in taking everyone's permission. Anyway, so the as the point goes, so could you walk us through the bill?
Yes, absolutely. So this bill, as we mentioned before, seeks to amend the Transgender Persons Act 2019. I'm just going to call it the 2019 Act.
Mhm.
Henceforth, essentially, for those who have not read that act in totality, I'm just going to give you a brief summary of what that act did. In 2014, the Supreme Court of India, through this judgment called Nalsa versus Union of India, and you'll be hearing this word a lot in all of the advocacy and the statements around it. It was a monumental landmark judgment where the Supreme Court of India said that there are these transgender persons communities in India and they don't have legal recognition, and for their welfare, because they are also persons who have rights under the constitution, the right to live, the right to equality, the right to non-discrimination, the right to freedom of speech and expression, it is essential that they have legal recognition. And so in 2014, the Supreme Court said that they are going to be legally recognized as the judgment uses the word third gender. This is a term that the community has rejected because it sort of creates a hierarchy of genders, which none of
Yeah,
us like. And the judgment said, well, transgender persons have equal recognition, and the government needs to come up with welfare measures because they have been oppressed in society. Um, so from 2014, it took about 5 years and a lot of uh, different drafts that the government had come out with, and there were a lot of protests by the community even then because they were very problematic. One of the drafts also included legal recognition on the basis of some sort of like medical
yeah,
checking, which has been brought back in this 2026 bill and is very enraging because we thought that that's a battle we've won.
yeah.
There were drafts, protests, etc. And then finally, after a lot of engagement of the community and the government, in 2019, we got the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act. This act broadly first enshrines the right to self-determination. Section 4.2 of the act literally says that
The
there is
2019
a
one.
right,
Yeah,
yes,
okay. Just
that
clearing.
there is a right to self-determination for all transgender persons. Um, and it provides a mechanism for us to get legal identity cards, your transgender identity card under
Hmm.
Section 6, and then your change of gender identity card under Section 7. So the compromise that was made essentially is that if you want to identify as either male or female, then there needs to be some sort of medical certificate. But if you want to identify just as a transgender person, which is your Section 6 ID card, then that is a self attestation. You just
Hmm.
have to say on a legal piece of paper that I am transgender, and that's about it.
Hmm.
Then you deserve a transgender ID card. And the rest of the provisions of the Act basically provide for things like non-discrimination in education, obligations on the government to create like medical institutions for trans persons, and welfare measures and so on. And finally, there's something called Section 18, which
Hmm.
is also another piece of contentious place right now because of what the 2026 bill has done. So Section 18 has been challenged in the Supreme Court also, because what it essentially does is it lumps a bunch of different crimes that are very commonly committed against trans
Hmm.
persons by saying that it is all punishable by a
2 years.
term of imprisonment of 2 years,
Yeah.
right? So this includes everything that you can think of. So it includes bonded labor. How do you punish bonded labor with 2 years? Bonded labor, like restriction from access to certain public spaces, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse,
Hmm.
to pile them all in and only treat them with the punishment of 2 years, when punishment for cis persons facing who are victim to the same
Hmm.
crime under the general crime legislation is upwards of 10, 15
Yeah,
years life
that's what I was going
imprisonment
to ask
is.
right now. Like, what takes precedent then?
Yes, sorry.
No, I was going to ask, like, if isn't the bonded, like, law against bonded labor and it's 10, 15 years.
Yes.
And so, but
Yeah.
that is a general one where it says, I think, persons or individual. That doesn't mention
Yes.
gender itself. So,
Yes.
which one
Yes.
takes
So
precedent now?
I mean, normally how general law works
Hmm.
is you can put the general crime and also the special crime. You charge both together and the court
Hmm.
decides which applies. So there's no
Okay.
one takes precedence over the other or
Okay.
anything. But the problematic part of this was that you're treating transgender persons in like unequally, right? You're
Hmm.
saying if a
Yeah.
cis person is victim, then the punishment is like 15, 20 years. But if the trans person, it's 2 years. And so this has obviously been challenged in the Supreme Court.
Hmm.
And instead of giving equal dignity, as this bill should have done, what it has done is put in a few other absurd provisions, and we'll get into what those are and why that's problematic. So that's the
Hmm.
scheme, the general scheme of the 2019 Act. Now, the 2026 bill
Hmm.
that is trying to amend this, it's doing a few, it's basically mutilated the act in many ways. One, of course, as you've heard, it's try to remove it has removed the right to self-determination.
Yeah.
And it's done so by removing the provision that says all transgender persons have the right to self-determination. They've deleted that provision. And it has also done so by introducing a medical board requirement to get transgender identity cards,
Okay.
right? So now, so before, if you wanted to get an ID card that says you are a transgender person, and you have to understand why this is really important. This is really important because all access to welfare measures, whether it is any sort of like food, shelter, education, employment that is reserved for transgender persons, is something you can only get if you have a trans ID card, right? So without that ID card, you don't get access to any of these things. So it's not just legal recognition, it's much more than that. It's about life and livelihood.
Yeah, they're just
So
putting barriers, right? Between getting
yeah,
access to
now there's more barriers,
sorry?
essentially. Now there's more
Yeah, there
barriers.
was more barriers.
Yeah.
No, that's
So
fucking sad.
also because not necessarily everybody has the economic means or
Mm-hmm.
even makes the choice to medically transition.
Yeah.
So to require a medical board is of course violative of the right to self-determination,
Yes.
something that we, as we discussed, Nalsa versus Union of India, the Supreme Court had very clearly said that this is enshrined in the Constitution, it's been upheld, and the government has to recognize this. So this
Yes.
bill is very patently unconstitutional. There is no doubt about it. Um, but we don't want to get to a place where we have the bill, we go to court, like, where
Mm-hmm.
the bill becomes law and then we go to court. We, as of now, our aim is to get the bill withdrawn in its entirety.
Yes.
Um, so the right to self-determination has been attacked that way. The problem with medical boards
Mm-hmm.
is that these boards are so, if you see, this is in the first, I think this is
Mm-hmm.
the second clause of the bill,
It
which adds this
is, there's too many
definition for
clauses here.
authority.
Second section to
Two.
4K1. The bill is
No,
open in
no.
front of me.
Yeah, so two, basically.
Yeah.
It After clause A, you add something called the definition of authority.
Okay.
That's the medical board, right?
Yeah.
A medical board headed by a chief medical officer as appointed by the central government or state government. Now, this doctor is going to decide, in conjunction with the district magistrate, whether you get
Mm-hmm.
an identity card or not. And this is extremely problematic.
Yeah.
The community fought a lot when the act was being made, when the bill was being made, to ensure that district magistrates do not get discretion, as in they don't have open authority to
Mm-hmm.
decide whether someone is transgender or not.
Yeah.
It's the person who is applying who has the right to decide their gender identity. So the law has been framed in a way where if you give the documents that are required, the district magistrate has to give you the ID card. There is no
Mm-hmm.
discretion involved.
Yeah.
Now, it's a different thing that on the ground, DMs have been exercising discretion. And therefore, there is also a challenge to Section 6 and 7 that is pending in the Supreme Court, because in practice and in implementation, DMs do exercise a discretion and it has been problematic. But the
So
law
just
itself
to
is
just
not,
to simplify that, they have been saying like, no, you're not gonna get the ID card.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
plainly because they have the power
Yeah.
like to do so. But even though the law doesn't let them, the
Okay.
2019
So
Act
they're
doesn't
just
give them the
completely
power.
going against the law. But is there any recourse against that? Even just going back to what the current law is?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, you have a lot of people going to court, going to the
Mm-hmm.
High Court on writ petition saying that the DM has illegally rejected my application. And there is a larger petition in the Supreme Court
Mm-hmm.
now to ensure that um, this does not keep happening. So, the government should introduce rules, should introduce manuals, should make it clear to the district magistrates that they do not have discretion. But what this bill is doing is essentially giving them discretion and telling them that they can consult with this medical board, who will now decide whether you are a transgender person or
Mm-hmm.
not.
Oh, that's fucked up a
And
bit.
other than the really messy issue of, oh, this medical board is going to decide and
Mm-hmm.
not you, there's also the issue that medical boards have never really worked in sort of
Anywhere, to be honest
in
with you, I can
policy,
give you
right?
examples of other places.
No, like medical boards are created under the MTP Act, which
Mm-hmm.
is for the Termination of Pregnancy Act, right,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
abortions. And the problem is in India, we, like, especially in remote areas or in really
Mm-hmm.
in like non-urban areas, you don't have doctors. You don't have enough doctors to create these medical boards, who don't have enough time or money or space. And so needing to constitute a medical board every time a transgender person applies, and then that medical board having all the doctors that are required and then them giving the decision, the number of barriers that it creates are insane.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Uh,
I'm sorry, I'm just butting in just to give a bit more reference. The reason why medical board also never work, because there's also bias involved a lot of times. Like this happens in Poland, like Poland very specifically, because there was a case very recently. There's a medical board for abortions. When because abortions are illegal in Poland, within the medical board they have never given an okay to get an abortion. Women have died over this.
Yeah.
The medical board is completely biased towards like Christian
Absolutely.
values. This also was the
Same.
case with Ireland before 2006, 2008. Just giving examples. So medical boards here, even in this case, I don't feel are going to work, because they can just like only give authorization to like 30% of the people that are applying for it. I don't like, I
Yeah.
read the article, like the amendment. I don't think there is anything that you can go to court against the board, because like you have to also go against the hospital, because they think the hospital also has to send like some documents to the board, and then even you have to do it, and then they have to cross check. It's a whole procedure, and then pinpointing to who actually go against with the court is going to be difficult.
It's so messy, especially like because the center I used to work
Mm-hmm.
with, the Center for Justice, Law and Society, they also have a report on medical boards that they did a couple of years ago for the MTP Act, which is on abortion. And these things delay so much, and especially for something like abortion, when time is
Mm-hmm.
so important and
Mm-hmm.
integral to like the health of the pregnant person and the fetus, and what's going to
Yeah.
happen. It's messy. It never works.
Yeah, I mean, medical boards never do. It if especially in decisions like this decision to start with is a personal decision to make. Like I can only imagine like a person is going through like their whole life trying to feel okay in their own skin, and now they have to go to a medical board to convince them that who they are. A whole lot of
Yeah,
stress.
it's we had a client who faced that even under the current act.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was illegal
Yeah,
for the DM to say, "Come meet me, and then I will decide whether I give you the ID card or not." Was illegal,
yeah,
but it was happening. And I think this really shows you the attitude through which, like, why these amendments have come in. Like, if you read the statement of objects and reasons, you will see they say that we only want to protect a certain class of
yeah.
transgender people. We don't want to protect, like, we're not trying to protect all of them. We are only trying to protect the ones who are who, according to
Mm-hmm.
them, are socially oppressed or are facing stigma. Um, it's the same thing, right? Like, it's this misuse argument. It's this
Yeah,
argument that um we are creating welfare measures and ID cards, and now everybody wants it,
yeah,
which is insane. And I
yes,
always say this to people who come to me with the misuse argument, that nobody would want to, like, voluntarily put themselves in a situation where they get stigmatized and oppressed just
yeah.
because of their identity. Believe me, no one is misusing
No, no, the
this.
community here, and I understand, because there's a lot of people who come with the argument as well, and we are always calling for like universal health care, at least minimum basic income, social welfare, social education, and they are always like, oh, but what about misuse? I'm like, even the misuse is like 0.1%, if there is, or like it is, and there is actually research on this. When you actually
Uh-huh.
provide this welfare to people, irrespective whether, without worrying about whether they're going to misuse it or not, almost no one misuses it, and it is always better for the community, whichever it is.
100%. If it's available to you for free and there's no scarcity, then I don't feel the need to hoard or steal
Even if
because
there's
I
a
know it will be
scarcity,
available.
even if there is a scarcity, people are more willing to provide others and share. Only you have to do is believe in the people's goodness. I think that is one thing that the government is curbing so much. They are,
100%.
yeah. There's also one thing I wanted to get at quickly because it just came up. When they say that we are only going to protect a certain minority within this minority, are they saying in this scenario, and I know this is all alleged and whatever, but Are they saying they're only going to protect like the UC Hindu trans to create an in group and then not protect the Muslims trans person or a Dalit trans person and that sort of? Do you think it going that way?
So currently, the definition of transgender person is what will decide the scope of what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the definition right now is restricted to some socio-cultural identities, right? So which is Kinnar,
Mm-hmm.
Hijra, Jogta, and Aravani, um, or eunuch.
Yeah, so that's what
Now
they're
the
limiting it
now
to.
one problem here is that these are all trans feminine identities. So trans masculine identities, social cultural identities have not been
Just to
recognized here.
explain, if for people who don't know, could you mention the difference between trans femme and trans mask? Because there's
Yes,
always
so
Indian
sure.
people not knowing English much.
You know, trans feminine refers to transgender persons who identify as feminine, and transmasculine refers to transgender persons who identify as
Mm-hmm.
masculine. These terms become important because socially and especially under this law, also trans
Mm-hmm.
feminine and trans masculine people tend to be treated differently in
Yeah.
society, much like women, men, and any
Yeah.
other classification of gender.
Okay. Thank you so
So
much.
these socio-cultural identities mentioned here largely refer to
Mm-hmm.
trans women, and also they don't include socio-cultural identities from the south and the north.
Okay.
Like in Tamil Nadu, the socio-cultural identity for trans persons is Tirunagal and Tirunagari.
Yeah.
Um, in the northeast, also there are different terms for it. So the fact that only certain sort of, a certain part of India, those social cultural identities are included here, does also create obviously some sort of problem. But there's been no religious um,
Mm-hmm.
exclusion, at least, other than the fact
No,
that
it.
these social cultural identities are Hindu,
I'm not saying
right?
on
These are
paper. I'm saying with the discretion of the medical officer because
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because of the effective caste class in
yeah.
terms of access to medical institutions, or do you have
Mhm.
the time, the ability to go through the legal
Yeah.
hoops that this act requires you to take? Definitely.
Yeah, and not just the act, because we were talking about this on the group earlier with primary sexual characteristic testing, external genitalia testing, especially with chromosomal pattern testing and gonadal development testing. Those are extremely expensive.
Absolutely.
As someone who is a biologist, IRL, these cost upwards of 50,000 sometimes individually.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
those are extremely horrendously expensive, and it is mostly because of capitalism. Let me be clear. They shouldn't be. Like I could do this in my lab for like within like 2 hours, but they're very
Right.
expensive for very bad reasons. And endogenous hormone production or response, this is by far the most expensive one if they're doing it correctly. If they're not doing it correctly, it can be extremely cheap, but this is going to be extremely hard, extremely sorry expensive to do, because you need like special antigens to adhere onto strips for an ELISA. You need special antigens to actually determine hormonal patterns, and like a kit right now, if I am correct, is like 1 lakh rupees or something before tax. It's going to be extremely
Yeah.
costly for anyone. And we were discussing this like within the transgender community, poverty is prevalent because of a lot of reasons. Not everyone has the support of their parents. Not everyone is even old enough to get this tested. Not everyone has a job. There's a issue with like people giving them jobs even if they're completely qualified, and this ends up becoming like, oh, you can't afford this testing, I'm sorry, you can't get the card then. That is something I see this going like, just barrier after barrier, not just like a legal barrier to entry where you have to like, they have the right to decide whether you're trans or not, not just that, but like getting to that place where they can look at the paperwork and decide it's going to be extremely difficult to get. So unless you are like, I don't know, the son of Shah Rukh Khan, you're not going to be able to get through this.
No, for sure. Especially because, I mean, these are the fights that before this bill came
Mm-hmm.
up, we were fighting, right? Like recognizing that um that surgery for transgender persons is a life-saving
Yeah.
procedure because currently it's recognized as it's seen as plastic surgery, it's
Mm-hmm.
seen as optional, and therefore insurance doesn't cover it.
Oh yeah.
Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
just to be clear,
for them
insurance is a
to
social evil. Everything should be free, especially when it comes to healthcare.
no, no, of course. I'm just saying, like, these are the fights we have been fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And now, without ensuring that the medical infrastructure to support the medical
Mm-hmm.
requirements of this legislation is present, the government is introducing such rigorous medical requirements,
Mm-hmm.
um, and very highly surveillance ones, right? So, for instance, there are changes to Section 7. So, Section 7 is the provision which talks about getting a binary identity card, so an
Mm-hmm.
ID card that says that you're male or female after surgery. I know a lot of people who, even after some sort of medical intervention,
Mm.
didn't want to get a Section 7. They
Okay.
prefer because they identify as non-binary
Yeah.
or as something else, and they don't want to identify as male or female. But this new change, basically, if you see in the bill, it's Section 5. They change a shall may into a must. So basically, they say that if you
Mm-hmm.
have gotten surgery, you must apply for the
Mm-hmm.
Section 7 ID, which means you have to
That's
identify as either male or female. And this is their attack on
mm-hmm.
non-binary identities. Right? They're saying that like it's not possible for you to identify as non-binary. And
What? I did not. I'm
they
sorry. I did not realize this is coming as a shock to me. I did not realize it. Thank you so much for it. So they're being like complete authoritarian binary about this. Like either you are or you aren't,
absolutely
and nothing else.
exactly nothing in between.
Okay.
I think they say that in the statement of objects and reasons also, is that this act is not for for gender fluidities or for gender queer and all of that
Okay.
because the 2019 act mentions gender queer and I
Yeah.
felt very obviously euphoric when I read that.
Mhm.
Um,
To be clear, this
but
is
yeah,
not an
this
act for the people, it's for control. So I'm like, sure.
yes, absolutely. And if you look at the next provision, which is
Mm-hmm.
they institute this requirement, this obligation on hospitals to inform the district
Yeah.
magistrate if they have conducted some sort of medical intervention on a trans person. This is basically surveillance.
Yeah.
You're telling the trans person that they must inform the DM when they do surgery and get the right ID
Yeah.
card. And then you're telling the hospital they must also inform to
Yes.
make
Yeah.
sure that there is like no issues and you have a proper count of how many trans persons there are and who's getting surgery and who's not. And that sort of surveillance architecture, especially in a country, in a government, in a state infrastructure that criminalizes and stigmatizes the
Mm-hmm.
transgender identity, is risky.
No,
It's
absolutely.
dangerous.
But they have been trying with
It's
everything. We've just like, we have had like 4 or 5 lives now out of all of the ones that we have done, just on how much this government is trying to surveil you with Sanchar Sati, with
yeah,
the GPS always on, with even, and like there's multiple different like broadcasting bill, what you get to hear, what you get to see. So yeah, this is a huge problem, especially because the government is authoritarian. I like so, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not going to be like you are saying this because just for again Sangi people coming here later. I am saying this government is fucking authoritarian. Guys, wake the fuck up. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So, so yeah, I mean, so that sort of amendment to Section 7 and this entrenchment of the fact that you have to identify as either male or female
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they've removed non-binary identities is, of course, very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Another major change that this bill has done is it's really focusing on this moral panic of forced transitioning or people being coerced or induced into
Yes.
dressing up
Yes, I found it very
as.
weird.
And this, I mean, this has not been in discourse. There's been no data on this, there's no evidence on this, there is no
Mm-hmm.
policy on this. Where this legislative focus is coming from is extremely, extremely weird to everybody.
Yeah.
um and where the immediate policy and practice harms of this is what is more dangerous is that already hospitals, when asked to do when approached by trans persons to do surgery, etc., are worried. They are worried, they are scared, especially when it comes to younger persons. They always require parents' permission, they
Mm-hmm.
require legal affidavits signed, they are very protective, they're always scared that something's gonna happen. Um, and the possibility that there is now these sort of criminal provisions with such high punishments makes it, at least in practice, a lot of the community believes that it'll make it harder for them to access
Yes.
medical intervention.
The one thing I actually fear here is because they have written, the consideration is like the mention itself of like, are you being coerced or not? Which means they might ask you to get like parent certificate that they are saying it's okay. And especially if you're like over 18, they might also ask, I think they do it for marriages as well, that no one is forced.
Yeah, yeah,
So just a barrier more because a lot of trans people are not in contact with their parents or their parents are not agreeing to this and they are doing this on their own. So they won't be able to do
yeah.
it. Um,
No, these barriers already exist on the ground, right? Like this is, you have to understand that the trans identity is stigmatized.
mhm.
Hospitals
Yeah.
are worried anyway.
Yes.
This is going to make things worse
Yeah. No.
instead of
Obviously.
making
Yeah.
things.
That's I
And
was
that,
trying to get it at least.
yeah, that's a major
Hmm.
concern. And I mean, the way that it's been this, it's important that we focus a little bit on how this has been introduced in the definition of transgender persons. Like you can break the definition down into three parts, right?
Hmm.
So if you're looking at 2K, which is what a transgender person is
Hmm.
defined as now.
Yeah.
How it used to be defined as in the 2019 Act is what I'll get into first. So the
Hmm.
2019 Act used your very basic definition, world accepted definition of what a transgender person is, which is someone who identifies with a gender that is different from the gender assigned to you at birth.
Yes.
That's the catch-all definition that was present in the 2019 Act, and they basically said it includes trans trans masculine, trans feminine, social cultural identities, genderqueer persons. They specified some identities, but they gave you
Hmm.
this catch-all so that everybody is included. And they defined intersex persons differently because, of
Yeah.
course, intersex persons do not necessarily have to be trans, even though some of them may identify as trans.
Hmm.
And the Trans Act, again, by not by design, but by the effort of a lot of community members and fighting and engagement and the effort of several parliamentarians, etc., we got the 2019 Act in a way that actually reflected what the community wanted. And now that has been completely discarded, um, to this definition, which basically talks about one, social cultural identities. And we've already talked about how the problem with the specified identities here is that it excludes certain marginalized identities, like from the north, east, from the south, etc., and also trans masculine social cultural identities. And then it includes intersex persons, and this is a problem because it's conflating intersex with
Yeah.
trans. And you so nicely, Neil, explained the problems with sort of all of the specifications, the tests that are required
Thank you so much.
to prove your intersex identity. And the third part of this definition is any person or child who has been, by force, allurement, inducement, either with or without consent, compelled to assume, um, adopt, or present a trans identity. Now, the weird part of this is that if a person has consensually and on their own um, decided that they want to present as trans, the only way that this act recognizes that they are trans is through the with consent part
Okay.
of the third, um, the 2K2 that we just discussed.
2K2, yeah.
And only if you get to with consent, it is any person who has been by force allurement with consent.
Yeah.
So essentially, this provision is assuming that even if you are consenting to it, it is by force.
Okay.
It
Okay.
is,
Okay. What?
so
The,
there is no way for you to be trans
okay.
without there being some sort of violence on you.
The fuck?
And that is is um is really scary, risky, is a sort of conception of the identity that we
Yes.
cannot let happen. For something that is euphoric, beneficial, freedom, like liberty, whatever you want to call it, people describe it in different ways. For it to be defined as such in the law
It's
is
problematic.
abhorrent. Yeah.
Bliss was saying that also in this context, and I would ask her to come on the stream and then say this out loud. She's extremely smart.
Please, we love that.
Yes, we would please. So she's in saying texting in this context. Sorry, in this context, is this true that people of whom transition is forced upon will be considered trans under the bill, but the people who want to transition willingly won't?
So, people who transition willingly may be considered trans because of the with consent part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
But it's but because the with consent is defined as force force allurement with consent, which is
Yes.
sort of self-contradictory in some way, um, you are implying a sense of violence.
Maybe they mean like I am, like, for example, if I'm talking to someone and like, you are trans, you have to be trans, and then they get it into their mind that they are trans. That sort of a way they're trying to define it.
I it's really hard to say how this makes sense. But because of the with or without consent, it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely assuming that some people are consenting to the surgery. And it is definitely trying to recognize them. But it's a weird way to recognize them for sure. But
Also,
I
I have
think
a
this is
stupid
largely
question.
because,
Sorry to cut
yes.
you off. I have a very stupid question here. Imagine a situation, and I know this has never been reported ever, that there's a person who gets forced into a transition surgery. I think, no, hold on. There was this case in the middle that a guy paid off the hospital to transition his friend because he couldn't find a girlfriend. There was a case in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. This is a very like ADHD thing. I remember weird shit sometimes. So
That's
there was
okay.
one
Yeah.
case I remember of this. So in that scenario, will the person who was forced into transition will be compulsorily considered trans or not because they did not choose to be transitioned?
So they will be considered trans because in order to benefit from the protections of the
Hmm?
act, you have to be considered trans.
Okay. So okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
Just to that extent. I mean, their social adoption or
Mm-hmm.
acceptance is slightly different.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't come under the legal definition of something doesn't mean you are socially something.
Okay. Okay, I
Um,
understand.
but the point is the rights and entitlements under the act will apply to you, which means the punishment under Section 18 for forcing someone to go through transition will
Mm-hmm.
apply, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't to that case, which would be absurd.
Okay. No. I found this actually. I found this out. So there's a UP man's genitals removed, surgery done when he was sleeping because the doctor was paid by his friend because the other friend was looking for a girlfriend. It is from June
Okay.
20th, 2024. If you,
People are weird.
it is extremely weird. And if you guys want to read the news, go join the Discord. I Discord in the chat. Thank you. I'm so sorry for this.
No, no, please keep plugging it in.
Yeah, this is a safe space as well. Like we are trying to create a safe space for people to chat because Twitter is toxic.
Oh, for sure.
That is one
For
of the
sure.
reasons why it's there. Also, I've been getting texts like, Pap, hold your horses, shut the fuck up. So I'm going to shut the fuck up now.
No, we're
Yeah.
almost through a lot
Yeah.
of the things that I wanted to point out. So
Hmm.
if there's anything else that,
Yes.
we would like
I
to
also wanted to
talk
get into, if, okay, go on. If you just finish up, because I wanted to get into another thing, because I don't understand how this was actually put in motion, because it was like in like 30 minutes, it was like passed or something, put on the table or
I
something.
don't think it's been passed. No, no,
Sorry.
it's just been
No, no, no.
introduced to
No,
the
no. The
it's been
introduction was
introduced.
like within like 30 seconds or something, 30 minutes or something. Hold on. Why is,
I
yeah. So
don't know what that is.
let me just find the news article quickly. You finish up what you want to say, because this was something big, that how this was introduced.
Um, no, essentially, I think I've covered what
Mm-hmm.
the main problems with the act. And I mean, largely what we perhaps haven't talked about that has been talked about in discourse is the statement of objects and reasons.
Yes.
And it is extremely problematic. It shows you a lot of the intention behind
Mm-hmm.
why the government is doing what they're doing. And it is weird because it is very self-contradictory to what the Ministry of Social Justice and
Mm-hmm.
Empowerment has said before. Like the 2019 Act was not by another government, it was by the same government.
Yes.
The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has previously in its like expert committee reports in like 2015, 2016 accepted this definition of transgender persons that was in the 2019 Act.
Yes.
So for them to walk back on it now, when they have accepted this before, is weird to us. And at least from an advocacy perspective,
Mm-hmm.
what we're trying to do is to engage with the government in good faith, knowing that they are still trying to protect community
I mean, this
and
government. Sorry.
and essentially explain that there are several misconceptions that have arisen that seem to have been the basis
Mm-hmm.
of this legislation, right? The fact that there may be some sort of misuse or that there are certain trans persons who do not deserve protections, or maybe that they don't deserve, that they are not as socially oppressed, or that medical considerations are required, or this whole thing about inducing or falsely inducing being a big phenomenon. Like we feel like there are several misconceptions that seem to be the foundation of this bill
Yes.
that need to be
Addressed at
dealt
least.
with at least at the parliament level. There are a lot of supporters of the queer community at the parliament
Mm-hmm.
level, allies at least, and we're hoping to engage with them to ensure that this
That
is
would be
either
amazing.
withdrawn or not passed.
That would be quite amazing. I mean, I don't want to be sad Nelly here. We just covered how kind of like parliamentary voting is useless, because the speeches don't matter.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't convince it. If
The
I
voice vote
sorry.
system is great. No, the voice vote makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, can you not come up with like how difficult is it to put a button in front of you
I know.
so you
So
can just take an
so
actual
the
vote?
one thing that I always advocate for, and I have fought with everyone about this, is the abrogation of the anti-defection law, which makes voting in the parliament completely pointless, because you can't vote against your party, which means you can do a
Yeah.
voice vote, you can't do a voice vote, your numbers are already decided. That is what I like. I'm not even joking. The last stream that we did on Thursday, I screamed for 3 hours against the anti-defection law. I would tell people to go watch it, hear me scream, or at least go read about it, because the law is horrendously written. And whatever we say about the BJP, the Congress did this. Rajiv Gandhi government did this. Like, I don't understand how
Uh,
this wasn't deemed like
all,
anti-constitutional.
all governments are
Yeah, thank
problems.
you. Thank you so much. Please come here every day. I have people coming in like to Congress. Hi. I have one person come in and say, "Nahi, tu BJP supporter hai." And I'm like, dude, fuck every one of them. I don't give a shit. Thank you so much.
I
This,
mean, yeah.
yeah. So the other thing I wanted to bring up was, So there is something that is going on around, like how this bill was introduced. So apparently this bill was taken up at 2 p.m., introduced very swiftly within minutes, and placed and without the presiding officer waiting to see if the MPs had any objection. That's how this came in.
Oh,
So like rag diya, and there was like, oh, we are just going to pass it through as fast as we can without people realizing it, I guess they thought.
yeah.
And
It was a shocker for us also,
yeah,
because normally bills have to be opened for comments,
yeah, yeah.
there is some sort of charcha before a bill is introduced into parliament. So this was just a shock.
Yeah, this was like I'll be very serious to you, and this is so great to have you here because I can thank you in person. Without you, I would have never known about this. No one in my community would have ever known about this, like at all. You were literally the first person there to be like, look at this piece of shit here.
Yeah,
So thank you
it
so
was
much.
scary. I called up, I was just calling up my community friends, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is this? Like, how do we make head or tail of this?
Thank you so much for
It's
doing
been
that.
a nice
People are saying thank you to
day and a
you.
half.
If you watch this stream later,
Oh,
they're saying
that's
thank
so
you. I mean, Hassan
sweet.
is. Everyone fucking idiots over here say thank you now. I'll ban you. Sorry, I'm authoritarian myself sometimes.
You know.
The yes, now they're saying again thank you. Okay, good. So the other thing, actually, I won't take too much of your time. We are already 1 hour in, and I know you're busy yourself. I
I do have to leave in 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. So just last thing here. So what do you think can the people listening here can do to say oppose this or not let it be placed for further discussion or like revoked? Can they call someone or can they go out to protest or?
Attend protests for sure as much as you can. If you're worried about like being anonymous, I mean, not being anonymous, of course, wear
Mhm,
masks, take all precautions, switch off your GPS, ensure that you've told friends where you are, try and make sure that you have like a lawyer or someone on call. Most protests that I know, like I've volunteered several times to be sort of the a lawyer present at the
mhm,
protests to help in case something happens. So obviously take all safety precautions, please.
mhm,
Um, but definitely show up in numbers. It really helps for the government for the government to know how much objection there is to something like this. Read, share statements online when organizations put them out. Draft your own. It will be amplified, it will be shared. The more everyone agrees, again, the more the government sees that there is objection to this. Um, I did speak to some people who were trying to draft some sort of email the MOSGE
mhm.
about this, but I don't think that's come up yet. But in case it does, I have your number, Neil. I'll reach
Yeah,
out to you.
perfect. Thank you so much. I'm like we are going to keep blasting about this until this gets retracted at this point. Like you can
Yeah,
people are going to
absolutely.
get so bored.
There is this bill is, I
Mhm.
mean,
It's bad,
it's
bad.
serious. I think
Yeah.
it's bad. I cannot, yeah. So we have to
No,
go
don't
all
worry.
guns
After this,
blazing.
I'm gonna be screaming about this a bit more. I'll make sure they know it is bad, bad.
But Neil, you have my email
Yes,
ID.
I do.
Just since you said that you have a lot of LGBT
Mm-hmm.
folks who are attending this, anybody who is legally like
Mm-hmm.
or worried about anything or
Mm-hmm.
panicking, you need some sort of legal clarifications or something, please, Neil can give you my contact and
Mm-hmm.
like reach out to me. I've had a lot of friends reach out who are just like, what's gonna happen to this, like their uni applications or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just reach out and I'm happy to help however I can.
Yeah, guys, you can if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Discord. You can reach me in the YouTube comments. I check them, which is sad because there's a lot of Sangis there. But I will check yours and I will send you the information. So, guys, if you are in need, whoever it is, whatever it is, Just reach out. That's all you have to do. I Discord here anytime there's a live stream. The Discord links are on my Twitter as well. If you need a community to talk to someone, even if you go through there and text me, I will send you whatever information you require. We already help people. It is fine for you to be there. You can just be there, test the waters, and you don't even have to chat. Take your time with it.
It was, yeah.
Sorry, go on, go on, go on.
No, I was just saying it was so wonderful speaking with you, Neil, and finding out about this amazing community. Thank you to everybody
Thank you
who
to
made this
you.
happen.
You are the
It's
reason why this
yeah.
is happening.
I mean, you guys are the reason this exists. I'm happy to be like a nice tangent in your journey.
Oh no, this is literally the journey. This is not a tangent. Like we joke at this point that within the community, we have like one or two token straight people. Everyone is queer, even yours truly. So, so don't do. This is
No,
the journey. We are never going to stop talking about this. Normally, what we do is we talk about like how all of the capitalism generally and how it affects the people, and just going from like how grassroots efforts actually help in this. But when something like this happens, you have to stop everything and just talk about this.
I mean, yeah. They're all, I mean, capitalism,
Yeah.
patriarchy, whatever. They're all the same structures.
Anyway, let's end on a very happy note, please. So, thank you so much. You have been absolutely amazing. I
I hope
hope.
so. I hope I all over the place.
Yeah, I know. I hope we could ever have a chat in better situations where it is not like do or die for a lot of people, and we can just chill out and watch a movie. Oh, Hassan is saying we are all Tihar peeps at one point of time. There is an ongoing
Sorry,
joke in the community. Sorry. If you have to go, go, go. It's fine. I'm just going to
car
finish with.
peeps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, sorry. I didn't get what you meant, but I just understood it.
So
Okay,
there's an
okay.
ongoing joke in the community because how I start the stream is hello and welcome. This is the show that answers the question why will Neil get arrested? That's my starting tagline. So me and Bliss had that joke that we are both have like selected cells in Tihar. That is all the booking is done. It's just a matter of time they put us in. Do you want another adjoining cell with us?
I'm good. I'm good for now.
Okay. So I'll cancel your booking.
Anyway, it was lovely to talk to you
It is
guys.
absolutely amazing. Thank you for coming.
Please reach out for any like legal help or if you're
I
worried
will.
about what's going
I will.
on.
I will. I will.
And
Is it
take
okay
care,
if I
everyone.
contact you later if some shit goes on, some similar, just for a comment or something?
Yeah, yeah, of
Thank you
course.
so much. Thank you so much again. I'll see you around. I have your number. Stay in
Yes,
touch, please.
you
Thank
take
you. See you.
care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye bye.